So, sort of two major subject areas of note talking about. First of which is what's happening with E3 this year, because it's looking like it could be a very interesting affair. First up, the press conferences, which is where most of us get the chance, or did get the chance, to experience what's to come in the next 12 months and beyond. Microsoft have decided to move their times from Monday morning, or at least Monday morning, like Pacific Eastern time, to Sunday afternoon, I think it is. I think it's 2 Pacific. So 5 Eastern, I think. But either way, it's going to be Sunday, whether it's Sunday afternoon or like late Sunday afternoon. All the big thing is it's moving to Sunday. Well, the whole idea is, sometimes we need more time. Which, considering how they've teased us that there's going to be a reveal for new hardware in the Project Scorpio, or whatever they call that Xbox, because I'm guessing that's what it'll be called. Who knows, it might not be. If we're calling it Scorpio, why don't we call it Zodiac? And then just have Hurdy-Gurdy Man playing in the background. If Owen's watching this, he'll get that joke. Probably about 7 of you will as well. That's as long as this is above 7 views. Might be, might not. Plus, they're going to need some big games. There are rumours that Halo 6, I think it is, or I certainly feel that Halo 6, it's around the time that they could start announcing it. It'd be a bit of a push to say it should come out at the start, by Christmas. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but it's not really rumors. It's sort of a feeling that it's like we haven't had a lot of Master Chief. Xbox, I think, are still looking for another game to push as a first-party thing, because they didn't entirely have that thing, apart from, to some extent, Forza, because I don't know how much Gears really resonates with people, especially when you take into account that Halo is a game that kids could technically buy, because from what I remember, the last Halo was, at least over here, I think like a 12 or possibly a 16, whereas Gears, because there's a lot of blood, is an 18 certificate, so you're limiting off quite a lot of the market there. So that, then you've got all the Sea of Thieves stuff and stuff they haven't announced. Cuphead, when the hell is Cuphead coming out? We've wanted it for years. Are you holding it back on purpose, you bastards? So yeah, that Microsoft announced that. So what happens to the Monday slot? Who knows? Because Bethesda, who traditionally, or I say traditionally, it's only been the last 2 years, have done a Sunday night event, have confirmed they are coming back. They've said usual time, so I'm guessing that is, I think the last couple have been 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. This is over in June, so I'll run through it over again then. But obviously with them, there's signs pointing to possibly a new Wolfenstein game. The Fallout 4 VR thing that they teased, who knows about that? Probably something to do with Skyrim coming to the Switch. Probably they'll be hyping up the fact that Elder Scrolls Online and the Morrowind stuff, that'll probably be pushed. There'll be some other additional stuff there. And then, of course, there's the case of what else? What else have Bethesda got up their sleeves? Could we see a new Elder Scrolls? The thing is, by the time E3 comes around, Prey will have already come out. So the only E3 coverage it really got was that opening trailer. of the reboot, and we all thought, wow, so that's going to be probably towards holiday season, and now we've obviously got the release date of like May. And the thing is, from people that have played like the first hour at special preview events, it looks promising, which is good. Because you've always got to be concerned for, you know, games that get overhyped and mispromoted, like For Honor and Watch Dogs, and trying to think. I don't want to pick out Ubisoft stuff. I'm trying to think of other stuff, but that's all that comes up. I guess EA to some extent with Star Wars Battlefront. Was that? I mean, now I'm trying to stray into E3 talk, so I'll just leave it there. Because the big thing with E3 is that 15,000 tickets are being made available to the public. They're making it properly open to anybody that can pay I think it's like $250 or whatever for the full pass for the event, which obviously is the show floor, so it's basically just a more expensive PAX to some extent, or the games conventions in the UK, like the EGX one that I go to. It's like that, because obviously there's going to be a lot of people on the floor, guests and media and stuff that are going to be playing. It's not just going to be them in offices, because they're going to want it to look busy on the floor. This partly is because of the fact that quite a few companies have said they're not doing stuff at the event because of this direction. Perhaps more of them will be getting involved. Obviously the big thing last year was EA did an event outside of E3 as well as in London and the UK, but I don't know how many people went to the UK one, because at the time that they did the event, when they did it, it was, I think, somewhere in the region of like 11 o'clock at night, perhaps 10 o'clock. And it's like, if you expect me to go down there and then be able to travel back, especially from somewhere that isn't based in London, I can't go. Probably couldn't go anyway, because I don't even know if they had tickets and everything to that. So we'll see. In terms of whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that the public are there, I can see the positives, because then you can actually get real reactions from people that are excited for the games. On the negative side, there's going to be a lot more people there than there would have been, which I know I've heard from some of the people that have been there is somewhat, some of the people like Ezekiel the Third, Twitch streamer, pretty entertaining. He was saying, how it was great being at E3 last year because there was quite a lot of space and everything, because obviously there were still people there, there was still a lot, but obviously if you add 15,000 onto that, over the course of the days and whatever, it's going to be busier, probably smellier and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I can see positives and negatives for it. We'll see how it works out. Hopefully it doesn't go super wrong. The other big thing, Nintendo. They announced that Legend of Zelda is getting a season pass for some, I don't know, I wouldn't say sort of bizarre reason, because it makes sense for them to do it, but at the same time, there's a lot of people like, I don't know, a little concerned. I was trying to get the details quickly for it, and I can't find the listing, unless I didn't look in the right place, which is probably what it is. can't be bothered to look anymore. I think it's like £20, at least in the UK, in terms of the value. Why did I not do this? Well, I guess because then you actually get it sort of as it comes from me. Proof that this isn't edited, and proof that it sort of is my thoughts as it go. There's no like script, which as itself makes it look unprofessional. I admit that, but that's sadly how I roll. Let me see, past week. There we go. So yeah, this expansion pass is going to be it's about $20, let's say. Now the big thing the big thing about this is, of course, this is the first real time Nintendo's going into season pass territory, as in paid DLC for content. They did it for Mario Kart 8, but that was just like additional tracks and whatever that you just bought separately. You couldn't buy it as a bundle until obviously we get to the release of the deluxe edition in April. So yeah, DLC Pack 1 will be arriving in the summer. Apparently, according to Eurogamer, adding a new Cave of Trials challenge, which is basically increasingly difficult set of dungeons filled with enemies to clear. So sort of like a boss rush mode to some extent, or perhaps like a horde mode, that style of thing. Like, as you go through the rooms, obviously the enemies you've got to kill become tougher and tougher. Also a hard mode for the game, and an additional map feature. What that is, who knows. And DLC Pack 2 will then launch in the winter and add a new original story, a new dungeon, and additional challenges. The interesting thing with this, though, is these DLCs are not available separately. Although it's timed content, one coming in the summer, one coming in the winter, you've got to pay the $20 to just get all of them. You can't choose. I'm not a fan of hard mode because I'm not great at Zelda games, but I wouldn't mind getting the new story content and whatever. Also, apparently, you get 3 chests of useful items within the game's starting area as a bonus for getting content as well. One of the chests with a Nintendo Switch shirt. For Link to... What's so special about a Nintendo Switch shirt? Like, just think about it. Like, you're advertising the console that quite a lot of people have bought to play your game on, unless they got the Wii U still, and they're getting a T-shirt for a game which they might not go back to, because who knows how replayable Zelda's going to be. I can see why they've added the dungeon, rush content, as that to say that's replayability, but I don't know. It's an interesting move, and then on top of that, Nintendo refusing to do damage control is the other thing. So somebody on YouTube managed to get the Nintendo Switch sent to them early. It broke street date and everything. They didn't say who sent it them, or obviously who they were properly. But yeah, they got a Switch. So they unboxed it, showcased it off, showcased the menus and the UIs. They obviously couldn't go on the internet because it required a patch, which will only come out when the thing launches in a couple of weeks. But they showed it, at least running and how it boots up and the menu and everything. You know, like the setup instructions, like what language do you want it in, you know, what brightness do you want the screen to be on default, all that sort of stuff. So this leaked out and everything, showcasing it off. Various media outlets were officially sent by Nintendo Nintendo Switches and were told to sign NDAs. I know this because I saw the video from Eurogamer from it. And the NDA specifies that all they can say, at least for now, it may have changed by the time you're watching this, but as of like when it came in Friday the 17th of February, because that's when I remember seeing the video, all they could do is say, this is the box for the Nintendo Switch, open the cover to show the screen part of it and the two controllers wrapped in plastic in it, and nothing else. They couldn't put it together or anything, couldn't run with it. That's clearly coming at a later date. Despite the fact that nearly a week before this, perhaps to be a bit more kind of a few days, at least by the start of the week, so that would have been, let's say, Valentine's Day, the 14th of Feb. The video had got out with all this stuff being shown already, which might be ad revenue claimed by Nintendo given their stuff, but it's still not a Nintendo authorized way of doing it. So you'd have thought they'd have want all these people that they wanted, you know, to authorize, you know, people that signed in, people that were authorized to get these consoles early, could showcase them off early to whet people's interest, because there is apparently quite a lot of hype for it. I'm not hyped for it because, as I said before, how else am I going to play it? There's no events, in recent or in upcoming weeks and months, at least for me to play it on. And if you're talking like, 2 days at a show in London or Manchester or Birmingham, that was so short term announced. It's like, who knows? So yeah, Nintendo not deciding to just go, look, it's leaked, why don't we just let the people do it? Because then through the NDA and the deals, it's like, we can push this stuff and say, oh, look, this is the actual Nintendo Switch, and the leaked one that they don't want you to see, unless they do because it's some sort of guerrilla marketing thing, will then get buried under all the official reveals from like your IGNs and your Kind of Funnies and your Eurogamers and your GameSpots and, you know, all the other gaming media, and probably non-gaming media as well. Probably like the BBC in the UK or Fox News will be sent one, and they'll be showcasing it off with their people and everything. So, I don't know. E3, always excited about. Nintendo doing stupid shit every time. Why am I not surprised?